there, I spoke to Arkansas Republican Congressman Tom Cotton, who served in Baghdad as a platoon leader with the 101st Airborne. As a fiscal conservative, I asked him if it was right to take the country to war without asking Americans to shoulder more of the financial burden.
The American people have paid a great price for the Iraq War. As you mentioned, over 4,400 who were killed in action, many more who bled and were wounded, and many more who served, as well as the toll that took on their families. Today is a day that we should remember and honor their sacrifices, but also celebrate their achievements. They deposed an evil dictator. They freed 30 million Arabs. They helped set up a wave of democratic reforms across the country. And when you consider that national security is the first priority of the United States government, I do think the war was worth it. We have to make sure that we consolidate and preserve the gains that we've achieved in Iraq over the last 10 years for the coming 10 years and beyond, but I do think the war was worth it.
Do you think the war is to blame for any of the deficits we see these days?
No, it's really not, Luke. If you look at where defense spending is today as a percentage either of the overall economy or the budget, it's still below its historic post-war norms, and under the president's budget, it's going to continue to fall even more rapidly. The main cause of deficits that we see today are the explosive growth in discretionary spending over the last 10 years. President Obama has certainly made that worse, although the Republicans in Congress 10 years ago didn't exactly cover themselves in glory when it came to fiscal discipline, and also just the changing face of America. You know, we have many more retirees now supported by fewer workers for health and retirement programs that have served a very noble and important purpose, but need to be reformed so they can be preserved for the next generation.
You're obviously a proud veteran. Something that I find to be quite interesting and appalling is the lack of availability for benefits for those who have served so nobly and have come home. I want to put up some stats for you. This is from the Center for Investigative Reporting, Veterans Affairs data. Approximately 600,000 veterans have benefits backlogged 125 days or more. 245,000 veterans have benefits backlogged a year or more. Average wait for benefits is 273 days. First-time claimants from Iraq and Afghanistan, the average wait is 316 days. How come in the United States that if you go off and fight for your country, you bleed for your country, you come back wounded, you're waiting up to a year to get benefits?
I think it's a result of still trying to process the large surge that we have had in veterans over the last 10 years because of the 9/11 attacks. My interactions with officials at the Department of Veterans Affairs, from the senior leaders in Washington down to the frontline officers in Arkansas, is that they are very motivated, dedicated civil servants, some of the best in our government outside the military, and many of them are veterans themselves. But as we've had so many veterans, we have many new programs to benefit them, like the 9/11 GI Bill, still working out the best practices to try to clear those backlogs. They are troubling, but I just think it's a matter of identifying best practices going forward. It's not a matter of the resources that we provided to them or the desire of anyone in Congress or in the Department of Veterans Affairs to serve them, or for that matter in civil society. You look at a company like Walmart in Arkansas, my home state. They've started a program where they're going to offer jobs to any veteran who clears a background check because they realize the kind of intangible leadership skills that veterans bring to every walk of life.
I'll get you out of here with this one. Obviously, you know, Mark Pryor is a very vulnerable Democrat. Two groups that you're associated with, Freedom Works and Club for Growth, are already going after him. You're a young guy, 35, graduated from Harvard, double degree, sort of a rising star in the Republican Party. Politico said you're the guy most to succeed. You gonna take a run at him for Senate in 2014?
Not quite as young as you are, Luke, but right now I'm just focused on trying to get a budget passed and trying to address some of those long-term structural deficit challenges that we face here in the House. There'll be plenty of time for politics later this year, but for the meantime, I'm just doing the work that the Arkansas people
thinking about it, though? Maybe thinking about it?
Right now, just thinking about the sacrifices of our veterans that started in a war that started 10 years ago.
Indeed. Tom Cotton, thank you very much for your service to the nation's military.